Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a process that happens literally thousands of times a day in healthcare and lab settings, the decontamination of reusable equipment. And looking at our source material, it's pretty clear this isn't just a quick wipe down, right? It's an exact science. It requires super strict controls over manual and automated cleaning, water quality, and specific chemical parameters. So let's dive right into this incredibly fragile chain of events. To kick things off, let's think about this. What actually happens when you use the strongest disinfectant on a really sensitive medical monitor? It's a super common misconception that stronger is always better when it comes to killing germs. We naturally want the absolute toughest chemical out there to make 100% sure the equipment is safe. But here's the catch. Disinfection methods rely on highly specific, controlled parameters. If you just ignore those parameters and grab the strongest chemical on the shelf, sure, you might get a perfectly sterile surface, but you also might completely destroy a $10,000 piece of equipment in the process. So, stronger isn't actually better. Controlling your parameters and using the approved agent, that's what's better. All right, here is our roadmap for today. We'll be quickly walking through the decontamination chain, pre-cleaning and cleaning agents, disinfectant selection and parameters, techniques for delicate electronics, mastering wet contact times, and finally, preventing cross-contamination. So, Section 1, the decontamination chain. Let's look at the strictly sequential nature of this whole process. Think of the decontamination chain as having exactly 5 distinct links. You've got prepare, pre-clean, clean, disinfect, and dry. And this exact sequence applies whether you're, say, manually scrubbing an item at a sink, dropping it into an ultrasonic bath, or putting it through a massive automated washer disinfector. The whole process is completely dependent on every single prior step. You prepare your workspace, you pre-clean to get rid of visible soil, you clean with agents to lift the suspended soil, and only then can you actually disinfect and dry. Remember, a chain is literally only as strong as its weakest link. If you decide to just skip pre-cleaning, well, your disinfection step is rendered entirely useless. You simply cannot disinfect dirt. And governing this entire chain is one single absolute authority: the manufacturer's instructions for use, or the IFU. The IFU dictates exactly how an item needs to be handled, and it always overrules your personal habits or whatever assumptions might be floating around the workplace. It's the IFU that tells you whether an item is robust enough to get tossed into an automated ultrasonic bath, or if it needs really painstaking manual cleaning. You never guess the concentration, you never guess the chemical, and you definitely never rely on memory. Moving right along to Section 2, pre-cleaning and cleaning agents. Let's see exactly why we absolutely must clean an item before we can even think about disinfecting it. So cleaning is all about physically lifting and suspending visible soil, while disinfecting is specifically about killing targeted microbes. And the relationship between these two, it's actually fascinating. Organic soil, things like blood or tissue, it physically acts like a shield for microbes. It's like a bunker for bacteria. Even worse, that organic matter can chemically neutralize a lot of disinfectants. If you apply a disinfectant straight onto a soiled surface, the dirt basically deactivates the chemical. And those microbes underneath, they survive completely unharmed. No way around it. That's exactly why cleaning always has to precede disinfection. Okay, so what tools are actually at our disposal to get things clean? Well, neutral detergents are going to be your go-to for general, routine cleaning. Then you have specialist agents, which are targeted for very specific soils or surfaces. And we also have enzymatic products, which are pretty wild. They actually digest and break down dried biological soil. But here's the thing. None of these are magic sprays. They all require strict controls. And alongside choosing the right detergent, water quality is a massive control factor. If you're using hard water, those minerals can actually interact with the chemicals and completely inhibit the cleaning process. Basically, your efficacy depends entirely on getting the chemistry and the water quality exactly right. Now, once that physical soil is successfully lifted and the surface is genuinely clean, we move into Section 3. Disinfectant selection and parameters. When you're selecting a disinfectant, you're always playing this balancing act between efficacy and compatibility. Efficacy means asking the big question, does this chemical actually kill the specific microbial risk we're worried about, like a certain bacteria or virus? Compatibility, on the other hand, asks, will this chemical damage or completely destroy my device? Because look, a microbiologically perfect killing agent is a total failure if it, say, degrades the adhesive holding your item together, or clouds up a screen so badly that you can't even read it. To really drive this point home, let's look at the fictional Northbridge clinical logistics case study from our source material. This is a pretty visceral example of what happens when strict manual disinfection controls are just totally ignored in favor of speed, or because something was out of stock. Take a look at this fictional Northbridge monitor. Do you see how the plastic bezel around the screen is crazed, cloudy, and just permanently damaged? So an operator needed to manually clean this monitor, but the IFU strictly warned against using alcohol-based products on this specific type of plastic. Well, the approved wipes happened to be out of stock, so feeling the time pressure, the operator used an unapproved alcohol wipe anyway. They probably thought, hey, it disinfects well just this once, we'll be totally fine, right? Wrong. The result was completely irreversible damage. FXC never, ever excuses incompatibility. If you don't have the approved agent for manual cleaning, you simply quarantine the device. And that brings us to Section 4, Technique for Delicate Electronics. Delicate electronics are basically the ultimate test of our manual cleaning controls. When automated washer disinfectors just aren't an option, we have to rely entirely on strict human controls to safely clean sensitive equipment that, frankly, absolutely hates water. The core skill we need here is controlled moisture. This means using a wipe that is dampened and then wrung out. Absolutely no pooling, no dripping, and never, ever spraying directly into gaps. The golden phrase to remember here is damp, not wet. Fluid ingress, which is when liquid sneaks into the tiny seams of a device, is a massive, massive risk when you're relying on manual disinfection. It can be hidden and it can be totally catastrophic. Controlled moisture is how human discipline prevents that disaster. When we're standardizing our manual processes, controlling risk means you spray your disinfectant onto the cloth itself, never directly onto the device. You want to use a damp wipe and always wipe away from openings and keypads, not push moisture toward them. On the flip side, spraying directly onto ports, using overwet cloths that drip into seams, or trying to jam a cloth into a live or open port, that drastically raises the risk of fluid ingress. Every single interface and seam is a potential highway for fluid. They absolutely have to be protected through really careful technique. Moving on to Section 5, Mastering Wet Contact Times. Now, this is arguably the most rushed step in the entire disinfection protocol. There is never a universal number for contact time. The required wet contact time comes strictly from the chemical product label and the device IFU. And honestly, this is where manual versus automated methods really diverge. An automated washer disinfector, it controls contact time and temperature perfectly via computer. But manual wiping, that leaves these critical parameters entirely up to human discipline. If you use a manual concentration that's too weak or a time that's too short, it's just completely ineffective. Which brings us to the golden rule of contact time. Reapply, don't shorten. Achieving the proper contact time is a fundamental key parameter of any disinfection method. If the label requires 3 minutes and you wipe a monitor on a warm bench so that it visually dries after just 1 minute, you are not done. Drying early does not mean it's magically disinfected. You have to reapply the disinfectant to hold that wet time for the full 3 minutes. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 6, Preventing Cross-Contamination. Because the process isn't over just because the timer beeped. We have to protect that clean result. Establishing strict environmental boundaries is just absolutely essential. You need a one-way workflow where items only move from dirty to clean with dedicated clean versus dirty storage zones. You have to perform hand hygiene and change your PPE at transitions, and you must decontaminate any reusable tools between items. But here's the kicker. Before an item ever crosses that workflow line into the clean zone, its cleaning efficacy must be verified. Efficacy checks, whether that's through really careful visual inspection or objective tests like ATP swabbing, ensure that the manual or automated cleaning processes actually worked before the item is ever handled as clean. So think about this. You just perfectly disinfected a device. You completely controlled the moisture, verified all the chemical parameters, and checked the cleaning efficacy. Awesome. But where do you set it down? If you casually set it back down on the dirty receiving bench, you have instantly ruined the entire chain. Disinfection simply does not survive recontamination. Understanding all these strict controls, from water quality and automated washing parameters to careful manual techniques and efficacy checks, is absolutely vital. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep those processes safe.